one of the most powerful AoE attack in the game that's fueled by a resource tied to her skill and teammate, a character who built critical hit while belonging to a class known for status effect. Yep, that's Akron from Honkai Star Rail, alright. Hi, Steambound here, and today we're going to be diving into everything to know about Miyabi, the first playable voice hunter in Zenless Zone Zero. Just like before, all the content in this video are based on the creator beta server, so everything can still be subject to change. Miyabi is an ice anomaly agent, but instead of the ice damage, she actually does frost damage. For most part, frost damage will still function the same way as ice damage, but the anomaly buildup is going to be separated from the regular ice and cause a stronger version of freeze. In fact, you can even trigger disorder between ice and frost anomalies. The frost anomaly is officially named Frostburn and is significantly stronger than the regular freeze. First, while Frostburn is on enemy, the anomaly buildup against that enemy will also be increased by 20%. Frostburn also has a significantly stronger disorder, dealing 75% damage per second remaining plus 600% disorder bonus, adding in the 500% from the shadow effect, and you've got a disorder that can rival the damage over time anomalies. When you deal frost damage from Miyabi, she will also apply Icefire to enemy, which is this blue flame effect. Icefire has two key effects. First, it converts 100% of her crit rate up to a maximum of 80% into increased anomaly build-up rate toward that target. And also, when Frostburn is triggered on a target with Icefire, it will trigger a Frostburn break, deal an additional 1500 ice damage to the enemy. This 1500% ice damage is raw damage that can critically strike but does not scale with anomaly effects. Once a Frostburn break effect is triggered, Miyabi cannot apply Icefire onto the enemy again until either the current anomaly effect expires or another anomaly is triggered. This includes if Miyabi apply another Frostburn before it falls off. Without Icefire, Miyabi can still freeze the enemy, but the enhanced Frostburn break effect and its massive bonus damage won't activate, which is why you almost always want to have another anomaly character in the team. Now let's talk about the storm that is coming. Shimotsuki, Miyabi's super strong charge attack. This attack is very simple, just hold down her attack button to charge up, then release the attack after charges. There are 3 different ranks of this attack, but generally you'll want to always charge it to rank 3 since it's significantly stronger than the other rank. Similar to Piper's Spin to Win, Shimotsuki is an offhand attack, so you can switch to another agent as soon as the charge is complete. Of course, a powerful attack like this is not free. To use it, Miyabi needs to have a special resource called Fallen Frost, and each charge needs 2 additional points. There are several ways to generate Fallen Frost. Triggering Frostburn Break gives Miyabi 1 point, her EX Special and any disorder gives her 2 points, and her ultimate give her 3 points. There are a few important things to keep in mind when managing Fallen Frost stacks. First, there is the 10-second cooldown for gaining Fallen Frost from Frostburn, so you won't be able to instantly refuel her resource when fighting mobs. Second, disorder triggered by Miyabi also count as a valid source of Fallen Frost, so doing it will actually give her 3 Fallen Frost stack in an instant. Third, Yanagi make an excellent ally for Miyabi, because Yanagi's polarity disorder will also generate 2 stack of Fallen Frost. And lastly, disorder will only generate Fallen Frost if Miyabi's additional ability is active. Speaking of her additional ability, it is very important for Miyabi. With it active, her Shimotsuki gains 60% damage increase and also ignore 30% of the enemy's ice resistance after a disorder. You can activate when Miyabi is paired with another agent from the same faction or is the support class. Now before we move on to the next part, there are a few more small details in her kit that I want to mention. First, her 5th basic attack includes a blocking effect function similar to Yanagi's special, which can provide additional safety during her combos. Second, Miyabi's EX special has 2 parts, with the second part dealing slightly higher damage. However, I personally wouldn't prioritize using the second part as managing Fallen Frost stack is far more important. Lastly, her ultimate grants her a 30% damage boost for 12 seconds, so usually you want to use it at the start of a combo, and preferably followed by a rank 3 Shimotsuki. Okay, now that we're finally done with explaining her kit, it is time to talk about how to actually play her in different teams, as Miyabi's gameplay will change depending on your team composition. Now, I think the main focus when playing Miyabi is to get as many Shimotsuki attack off as possible. It's one of the strongest attack in the game, even surpassing most ultimate in raw power. Outside of her EX special, Disorder will be your primary method of generating Fallen Frost, so having another Anomaly agent is going to be very beneficial for her team. For newer players, Lucy and Piper is a solid budget team for Miyabi, and for a player with more options, Bernice and Jin are also excellent pick as well. And since Bernice and Jin's additional ability will be activated by using Miyabi, you will also have more flexibility on the support picks. If you were to use Grace here, you can use Rina in the team to breach Miyabi's additional ability requirement, and I also suggest you to equip Energy Regeneration Drive Disc on Grace to ensure she can provide the X special as frequently as possible, because in this setup, Grace's sole focus is triggering Disorder to refresh Miyabi's Frostburn. Now, the best teammate for Miyabi will definitely be Yanagi. Yanagi has the ability to generate more than the usual 2 Fallen Frost point for Miyabi in a single rotation. Ideally, you'll switch to Yanagi immediately after Miyabi trigger her Anomaly. The reason I say that is that if Miyabi's Fallen Frost is full due to a Polarity Disorder attack before Yanagi actually triggers Shock and remove the current Frostburn, you won't risk wasting a Frostburn break by overfilling the enemy's Anomaly bar with Shimotsuki again. Yanagi also adds a lot of flexibility to Miyabi's team composition. For starters, she makes Caesar a viable teammate, which in my opinion creates one of the strongest teams. Yanagi can also enable a stun burst playstyle with Qingyi. While you lose out on the bonus damage from Miyabi's additional ability in the setup, you can still make full advantage of the increased damage multiplier from stun effect, resulting in some incredible burst potential. A typical burst rotation could look like this. Start by using Miyabi's ultimate to activate her damage bonus and follow up with a Shimotsuki. Then switch to Yanagi to use her EX special and ultimate. This will instantly recharge Miyabi's Fallen Frost, which allow us to cast another Shimotsuki to finish the burst rotation. Lastly, for Yanagi and Miyabi specifically, it's worth noting that it is okay to use Miyabi's charge attack even if the enemy is currently under her Anomaly. You don't have to worry too much about this with other Anomaly agents because they don't have actual generation with Polarity Disorder, but with Yanagi sometimes you will run into a situation where there's just too much Fallen Frost, and she still haven't triggered her Disorder, so it's more important to avoid wasting Fallen Frost point than it is to maximize the build-up bonus from Icefire. Now there's one more option worth mentioning, using Miyabi as a solo DPS without another Anomaly agent. However, I would not recommend this unless you have at least her M2. At M0, there are 2 main challenges of running Miyabi solo. The first challenge is that she will miss out quite a bit on Anomaly build-up rate and also the bonus damage from Frostbreak due to her not able to reapply her Icefire every other Anomaly trigger. This issue is resolved with her M1, which not only increases Shimotsuki's penetration, but also allow it to remove Frostburn from the target immediately, allowing her to more consistently reapply Frostburn break and benefit from the enhanced build-up rate from Icefire. The second challenge here is the lack of Fallen Frost generation. Without the Anomaly support, Miyabi relies pretty much only on her EX special to generate Fallen Frost. Her M2 addressed this by allowing her 5th basic attack to also generate Fallen Frost point. This change looks small, but it actually amplifies her overall flow by a ton. Miyabi's EX special changes directly into her 3rd basic attack, meaning you can generate 3 Fallen Frost points instead of 2 with just a bit more time. Her dodge counter also changes into her 4th basic attack, making it possible to generate Fallen Frost very quickly against aggressive enemies. On top of that, her 5th basic attack also have the built-in block, which make it pretty safe to use. For solo DPS setup, pairing Miyabi with Lighter and Lucy is ideal due to the aggressive 75% damage bonus Lighter can provide. If that's not what you're going for, try to make sure the other 2 teammates share the same element to occasionally contribute to bonus disorders, as Frostburn's damage potential remains tied to those effects. When building Miyabi, her raw damage potential and the unique crit skilling mechanic as an Anomaly character means that her signature W engine will be significantly stronger, providing up to 20% more damage compared to other alternatives. If you don't have her W engine, the Fusion Compiler is the best second choice, offering penetration, which boosts both her Anomaly damage and raw damage. If you're struggling to reach a decent crit rate, you can consider using an off-class W engine with crit rate as substats, similar to what we have done with Caesar. The upcoming patch also introduced an event W engine that has crit rate as the substats, which could be a temporary solution if you're missing her signature weapon. For drive discs, Miyabi's new signature set is perfect for her playstyle, but if you don't have the resource to farm it right now, the standard ice set is a solid alternative. For 2-piece set, you want to prioritize Woodpecker for the critical rate, but if you're able to obtain enough critical rate through substats, also don't forget the bonus one from her signature drive disc, then Homing Punk and Polar Metal can also be an option. Do keep in mind that outside of the Woodpeckers, substats will matter a lot more than which 2-piece you put on her. When it comes to main stats, there are a few more things to consider. On P6, Anomaly Mastery is unnecessary. Miyabi already focuses a lot more on raw damage and can apply her Anomaly fast enough without it. For P6, Ice damage bonus is generally the best option, but if you're running lighter with his 75% damage buff, attack becomes slightly stronger due to his buff uptimes. If you're using Rina, penetration can also be a consideration as a part of the build. For piece 4, prioritize crit rate first if you can reach 80% crit rate with the substats. This is not only affect her raw damage but also improve Anomaly build-up through Icefire's crit scaling. For substats, prioritizing crit rate and attack percentage first, and if you have enough crit rate, you can then go for more crit damage. If you're using her signature W engine with her drive disc set, you only really need 7 crit rate substats to reach 80%, but without it, you'll then need around 13 crit rate from substats along with the Woodpecker. If you're a new player, I highly recommend picking up at least one copy of Miyabi and her signature W engine. With the free Harusama from the event, you'll have a strong foundation for handling shield defense and other challenging content for a while. As the game evolves, Miyabi will only get better with future teammates. Not only does her synergize well with Anomaly characters, her additional abilities requirement for a support agent also kind of hints at potential game-changing support agent down the line. And that's everything you need to know about Miyabi. I hope this guide helped you get the most out of her incredible potential. And as always, this has been SteamBadNext. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.